now we're heading over to our top five segment, man. And this week is films to not watch by yourself. And I'm loving the list so far, going through and seeing what y'all picked. And I'm interested to hear y'all's reason. So for this top five, Miss Paula, since you are, of course, our special guest, we would like for you to go first. So we always start out with five and work our way up to the top.
Yes. So, five films to not watch by yourself. I have Us. That
Mm.
movie I watched with my roommates, and it's just one of those films that once you're done with it, you kind of have like a 30-minute conversation with your roommates. At least I did, about like what would you do and what did we just watch? And oh my God, I just really like that movie. I'm a fan of Jordan Peele. And that's one movie that I will put on there.
Well, I mean, it's not going to be long until we get back to you because number five for both Dustin and myself is Dead Poet Society.
Yeah.
Of course, this film dealing heavily with adolescence and the, I guess, acceptance of suicide and, parents not being who you want them to be in your life and not being that particular role model who you want to look up to, but then, like, that parent never shows you love. And it's a deep rooted emotional film that you definitely think about in a different way now, especially since Robin Williams was in it and especially since his life was taken the way it was. It's one of those impactful films that definitely makes you think about your own mental health, your own standing, who your support system is, and it makes you kind of check in with yourself to make sure you're okay. So when you do that, you want to make sure you're with other people because if they're going through the same process, you can have conversations about furthering mental health. That's why I think that film specifically is important to watch with other people to open up the conversation about mental health.
Yeah, this one's a tough one to watch in the sense that I think if you've ever gone through anything in your life traumatic, especially young, right? If you've had any type of, hardship in your young life, this is one that because like you said, there are failures with parents and there's failures with who identity and trying to fit in, trying to find a group that accepts you for who you are, and what that does to your mental health when your family doesn't acknowledge who you really are. They just want you to be what they want you to be, and trying to find that group. And when you find that group, and then that doesn't go the way you need it to go, and it leads to the tragedy that this movie leads to. Yeah, it's difficult to watch. This is a movie for me that it's very heavy, and the reason I don't like to watch it alone is because every time I watch it alone I end up in tears and in a very dark place, and I feel like if I'm watching it with somebody, there's somebody there to get me out of that dark place so that I don't just spend the next 3 hours after watching it in that dark place reliving any traumatic event in my life over and over and over kind of thing. I feel like this is a movie where I need somebody to go, okay, that was deep, that was heavy. Let's drag out of that and go do something else, kind of a thing. So that's why I put it on my list. It's definitely one that I love. I think it's a beautiful film, but one that I think you need some pulling away from after you watch it immediately.
Yeah, that's for sure. Have you ever seen that one, Paula?
Yeah, no, I watched that for the first time, I think last year, and
Mhm.
that's one of those movies along with oh my gosh, it's Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. Why am I
Good Will Hunting?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I watched both of those in like a week actually, and those feel
Nice.
very similar.
Yeah.
And those are those kinds of movies that you watch it once and then you wait like 3 years and then you watch it again because
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just so emotional.
Yeah.
But I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, I hadn't seen Dead Poets Society from the first time that I watched it until Robin Williams died, and then I went back and watched it, and then I'm like, "Fuck, this was the worst possible time to rewatch
Yeah.
it." You forget what the
Oh
story's
man.
about, and then you're like, "Oh shit, why did I?" And
Yeah,
I
that's
Mhm.
cried for
rough.
4 hours. It was like, "Oh
Yeah.
my god, this is horrible."
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. Oh man. Well, it is time for your number four, Paula. So let's get it.
Yes. My number four pick, shifting from like the horror is Little Miss Sunshine. I
Mm,
also watched that for the first time, I think like 2 weeks ago, and I watched
hmm.
that with my family. It's cute, it's a coming of age, it's funny. It has a little bit for everybody, and I think that's just a movie that like is a comfort watch and it's better with others.
Mm.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, because I feel like, for me, that type of film would probably be like either like Toy Story or like the Inside Out films or things like that. Good family films about families. Of course, there's this main central character, but like to have that camaraderie that you see the character going through, and then you look around, you're like, you know what? I have that too. That's
Yeah,
exactly what I have going on. So
yeah.
that's a good point. I didn't even think about doing that for my list, and that's why we love
Yeah.
doing the top five because I thought about one of my films specifically is kind of in the same vein as that specific thought process, but I love that. Thank you for that. That's awesome. And then my number four is super dark, super wild. Definitely do not watch it by yourself. We've talked about this film relentlessly. It's wild. What's in the damn box? I'm talking about Seven. It was
Yes.
literally talked about it our last episode because I think character reveals. I think Dustin had it on his top five character reveals
Yeah.
with Kaiser or not Kaiser Sose with Kevin Spacey, who is of course Kaiser Soke. But yeah, the seven deadly sins and the gluttony one. That one literally almost made me throw up. And it was in a dark room, and like I felt like you could smell through the screen. Maybe that's what AMC should do next. Have freaking the smell sensors. Maybe they should be able to smell movies. But anyway, yeah, this film is really dark. It's really wild. Of course, it's about a serial killer who kills people in the way of the said seven deadly sins, and we've talked about it a lot. Very dark, very roller coaster of a ride. A great cinematic experience. David Fincher is a little off in the head, but that's why we love him. But yeah, Seven, my number four pick.
Ooh, that's like, yeah, because of what we talked about before with my reveal. I think it's one of, like, maybe one of the best films ever. I mean, storytelling, everything about it I thought was like fantastic. So I'm right there with you. It's funny because I have two Stanley Kubrick films in a row coming, like, but he's one of the greatest filmmakers of all time, but he puts out some scary shit. So my number four, I think it was ahead of its time. I really do. It's kind of a war protest film, but where I think it was ahead of its time is, and granted, it's the Marines. Okay, we've heard about how tough they are and all that kind of. But I think this film was so ahead of its time because this film shows the direct result of when you relentlessly attack someone, relentlessly bully them, relentlessly call them out, belittle them, demean them, and the shit that goes down with that and how your mental health deteriorates to a point where you just can't take it anymore. I'm talking about Full Metal Jacket. And I mean, for anybody who's seen it, Vincent D'Onofrio, Gomer, drill sergeant, just relentless in his brutal takedown of bullying and demeaning and just mentally and physically harming this man, which ends tragically where he loses it. He loses all facility, all mental health, and just goes down this dark rabbit hole. And it's one of the most disturbing scenes I think I've ever seen on film when he is sitting on that toilet with that gun, and Drill Sergeant doesn't even recognize. Drill Sergeant comes in there, starts hammering him, starts like ripping him apart, like, uh-oh, this guy's here because of this, and you're not even paying attention. And of course, ends tragically for the Drill Sergeant and for Gomer, who takes his own life. But yeah, it's a hard one for me to watch because it is a stark look at what can happen to mental health when you are the victim of someone going at you like that, and the tragedy that we see play out from it. And it clearly was ahead of its time in the sense of we see this in society every day now. I mean, when we're seeing all these school shootings or these these mass killings, we find out from the manifestos that these are people that have been bullied by certain groups their entire life and hammered for who they are. And this is the tragic result of where that ends up. And this movie, it delivered. Stanley Kubrick is not afraid to show realism and authenticity and what life is really all about. And Full Metal Jacket is one of those films. So my number four, Full Metal Jacket, and Vincent D'Onofrio. That film certainly made him a household name. That What a performance, man. What a
Yeah.
performance.
Great pick, man. Great pick. Yeah, I also love what's his face? Matthew Modine in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Joker. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
So
Ralph
good,
Emmer,
man.
I mean, he literally from Seven, the boss,
Yeah.
the captain, he got that role because of this guy was like just brilliant, like an unknown who basically his audition was a 12-minute audition tape of him just off the cuff ad-libbing insults as the drill
Yeah.
sergeant. They're like
Because wasn't he a
Kubrick's
drill
like
sergeant in real life? Like, wasn't he
yeah,
like a
yeah,
part
yeah.
of
And
yeah.
Kubrick's like, fuck yeah, I love this guy. Let's go, you know? And it was just,
Yeah. Iconic character that he played for the rest of his life.
yeah, even in
Basically.
Toy Story, he's
Oh,
the
yeah.
angry army soldier, the voice of the
Exactly.
yeah, just
Exactly.
crazy.
My number three wait, I was about to skip you, Paula. I'm sorry. I'm just so like not used to having a third person. Your number three.
My number three is Anatomy of a Fall.
Mm.
Yeah, I watched that after the Oscars. And when I saw like Messi the dog on the screen, I was like, I need to watch what he's in. So I did, and it's a murder mystery. I loved it, and it's one of those movies that doesn't get resolved in the end. You still don't know if the woman killed her husband or not, and those are one of those movies that I need other people there because maybe they saw something that I didn't, or they have a different opinion, and I just need everyone on board to be like, okay, what do you think happened? And
Yeah,
love that movie. Yeah,
yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, still have not seen that one yet. I
I
definitely
recommend
need
it.
to.
Yeah.
For sure. I love that. I love that. I haven't seen Little Miss Sunshine either, just letting you know.
Oh
So
wow,
I think it's great.
am I missing out on life? Am I
Two
not
films
like
that you need to add to the list, my friend.
yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. There's always so much. My number three goes to Empire Strikes Back. Of course, Star Wars. I think the whole first initial trilogy you should watch with other people, especially people who either, it's kind of like the people who are grandfathered in or the people who came out like I don't even know. The original Star Wars trilogy is something like a time capsule that I feel like each generation has to open up with the younger generation to show them what this cinematic experience was. Because what Star Wars, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi did for the sci-fi genre was completely take it and turn it into a franchise money-making machine and a new way to tell stories through filmmaking. And I think what Empire Strikes Back does is show you that a sci-fi movie about these aliens and this whole different galaxy with these people traveling to different worlds and this ancient religion, it shows you that different types of stories can be fit into different genres. It doesn't need to be so cookie cutter. And of course, when the big reveal that Darth Vader is Luke's father, you have to be there when a kid first sees that for the first time, because I feel like that's just such a jaw-dropping moment that will continue to bring conversation, and be a great memory, especially for the parents too, that they'll be able to see. I remember when I felt that way when I was a kid. So yeah, that's a great freaking reason. And that's kind of where my Little Miss Sunshine comment came from too, where you just want to have your family with you that have seen the film before, so they can, anticipate your reaction when that time comes. So yeah, number three for me, Empire Strikes Back.
And when you think about the story and history behind that, first of all, if you're like from my generation, you didn't even know it was chapter 4, 5, and 6 because you had no idea there was going to be prequels before it, right? You just thought this was the film. So, so wait a minute, what do you mean we're in the middle of a 9-film trilogy? What? Yeah, when they renamed it A New Hope, because in my day it was just Star Wars. It wasn't A New Hope. There was no such thing. But the story behind that, that movie was passed on by every single studio. Every studio, including 20th Century Fox. The only reason 20th Century Fox agreed to do it is because Lucas said, I'll finance it myself in exchange for box office profits. And they were like, good deal, because they thought it was going to bomb. They were like, well, we're not going to have to pay him shit out of the box office profits because it ain't going to make any money. And he's going to pay for the whole thing himself. So this is a win-win. oops. Like, to this day, they're still regretting that deal because he's still banking off box office profits, and they ain't seeing shit from that. I mean, it was just one of those legendary deals that just worked, and the rest is history, man. So good one to put on the list. My number 3, another Kubrick film, and it's another stark look at reality, and it's the difference. It's the opposite side of the spectrum of Full Metal Jacket, in the sense that this was a person who was just trying to be a good guy and was bullied to the point and tortured to the point and driven to the point with the tragedy that happened. A Clockwork Orange is the other side of that dynamic, where there are just people that are pure evil. And if you've seen A Clockwork Orange, Malcolm McDowell's character in this film is just evil incarnate. He's pure evil. This film is about a psychotic guy and his group of dogs that go on a murder and sex rampage, raping and killing people nonstop. It is violent. It is nasty. It is dirty. He finally gets arrested, and he's forced to go through this program where time can be reduced on his sentence, but it's like a reconditioning program where your violence is taken out of you. You're forced to look at it and blah, blah. Well, of course, he goes through the program, and sure, he's fixed. And then he comes out, and he's not fixed. He's crazier than, more evil than ever. And it's just like, but this movie is extremely hard to watch because it is massively violent and massively terrifying. The rape sequences and the brutal murders are just like, if you're watching this thing by yourself, you're probably terrified to close your eyes after watching it because you're like, holy shit, that kind of evil exists? And then you're faced with the stark reality that, yes, that kind of evil does exist. And you're terrified from that point on. So yeah, my number 3, and I definitely never watched this thing alone, A Clockwork Orange. Again, though, Stanley Kubrick, being the master filmmaker that he is, this is the film that catapulted Malcolm McDowell to household name and worldwide fame. I mean, even though the character that he played, nobody ever wanted to fucking see again, but it launched him, and he never looked back. And man, it's a true film. If you're a filmmaker, you should be watching it, because it is a master class in how to tell a really disturbing film. A Clockwork Orange, Stanley Kubrick, man.
Very nice, very nice. Miss Paula, your number 2.
Yes, my number 2 pick is a movie I did watch by myself, but I wish I didn't. Death Becomes Her. I think this is one of the funniest movies, the campiest movie. It's a star-studded cast. You have Meryl Streep, Goldie Hawn, Bruce Willis, Isabella Rossellini. It's just so much fun, and I know it could be like a cute like movie night with the girls or like with the guys or whatever. I just think it's so fun, and it's an opportunity missed if you don't watch it with others.
No, nice, fantastic. Well, I'll definitely have to check that one out as well.
Wait, you haven't seen that one either?
No, I haven't.
Death Becomes Her. It's so good.
Sometimes the over-the-top camp works, and sometimes it doesn't. It works in this film. It works. You know, it just does. It's fun to watch. It's like you want it to be over the. It's like Batman back from the 60s, right? It was so over-the-top campy that it just was fun to watch. That's this film, and yeah. Wow, Logan.
Very fun, man. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Listen.
It's fine.
Number 2 for me and Dustin is Philadelphia. This film I feel like should be obvious. I did watch this one by myself for the first time, and it did put me in a depressional state. Of course, about the AIDS epidemic. Was it an epidemic? Was it a pandemic?
It was at the start of. It was before they really knew what AIDS was. Yeah. And it was still being deemed the gay disease, and it was at a time where we were still unsure of what it was, how you got it, was it, how it was contracted. It was so it was at the forefront of leaning into setting the facts on this disease. Yeah.
I think people should watch it with other people, obviously, because it's kind of a depressing movie. Obviously, Denzel Washington and Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks dies at the very end of it. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it. But
wait,
yeah,
what?
I know. I didn't know they took Old Yeller out back and shot her. But anyway, yeah, I do feel like you should watch Philadelphia with people who experienced the 90s, who experienced what it was like during that time, because the 90s and AIDS was such a big thing, man. So, I mean, that's from more of an educational standpoint and what life was actually like during that time. That's why I think you should watch it with other people. So, yeah, Philadelphia for me.
This film was really hard for me to watch. I went and saw it with somebody that's extremely important to me, and at the time she had just lost an uncle to AIDS,
Mm.
and was so she broke down watching it, obviously, which made me break down watching it. And it was this movie, though, is about so much more than just AIDS. It's about love, and it's about that relationship between Antonio Banderas and Tom Hanks's characters, and about the betrayal and then forgiveness, and how you sometimes, when you love somebody so dearly, forgiveness is there, it's valid, and it was a mistake that he had to get over, the initial anger and hatred towards what he did to him, but then the true love and forgiveness comes as he is by his bedside as he deals with what he's the tragic ending. It's about so much more than just you know the disease itself, which made it even more hard for me because I went through very much that, like, we had a little problem there with the my close person, and I had that hate moment, and I said something I will regret the rest of my life, even though there's been forgiveness and we've moved past it. But like, I literally said, I hope you die like your uncle from AIDS to right at pretty much not far after we'd seen this movie. And when the hurt on the face of when you make a comment like that to somebody who you know has lost somebody from after just going through that emotional bonding with them, it's like, but that shows you the power of this movie. And like, when you're elevated to a state of, you say something you can never take back but never meant to say, and you regret the rest, you know, it's one of those type oh shit moments, which is why I can't watch this thing by myself, because it brings up that horrible time frame in my life, and I'm like, fuck, I just so Philadelphia. I
Anyway, Paula, you have joined us for an Everything's Okay podcast. Here we
yeah.
are
Sounds like
talking.
it.
Yeah,
Here
yeah,
we
yeah.
are. Here we are. I knew
Goodness
this
gracious.
category was gonna cause some stuff, though. It's just like one of those
Yeah.
things.
For sure, for sure. What about you? Number one, number one. Here we are.
Number one. Okay, this is a movie that I did watch by myself for the first time, and towards the end of I don't know, like 30 minutes before it ended, I was literally watching it like this. It is Hereditary. Oh my God. And then the second time I watched it, which was with people, I was still like this, but with everyone else. So it felt safer. I think everyone should watch a horror movie in a theater with everyone to get that feeling.
Yes.
And Hereditary is just, I think it's one of the scariest movies I've ever seen. Like, I still don't know what the ending is because I was watching it like this, you know? It's so, I don't know. I can't even explain it, but yeah,
That's awesome. Yeah,
Hereditary.
it's so funny because Dustin and I both went and saw it. I'm pretty sure we saw it together in
Yeah.
theaters, and we were
Mm.
massively confused. I don't know if we didn't jump on the Jordan Peele train quick enough, because I think what he did with Get Out kind of transformed the whole horror industry. So
Yeah.
maybe if we have seen Get Out before Hereditary, it would have been more scary. But yeah, because I remember. I need to go back and rewatch it, but I remember walking out of the theater and being like, I'm confused. What just happened? I'm what? But yeah, I mean, but that's the beauty of film. That I mean, there's so many different interpretations, and especially now with
Well,
horror, the genre being so out there, and you have to think so much. Definitely have to go back and put this on my rewatch list. So I love that you put that up there, because this film is very like timely and important too, specifically your generation, a little bit older than you and younger than me. So it is very interesting to how film touches people in different ways with different generations. So that's awesome to hear.
were you freaked out by the telephone pole? Like,
Love the
No, not
telephone
even
pole.
that. Weirdly enough, it was like right at the end when you've both seen it,
yeah,
right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
yeah.
So the mom is like banging her head
yeah,
on
Hmm.
the
yeah.
door. Oh, like this, it's just like the sounds and the visuals. It's yeah, no, the first
See,
like I don't know, 75% of the movie I was good. It's
Hmm.
just the end where it just gets so batshit crazy and I
Yeah.
just am overwhelmed and overstimulated. I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, like Logan said, I was back and forth with like, what is the story they're trying to tell here? What are they doing? But I really, and I don't know what this says about me, but I was laughing throughout it. I thought I just thought it was more humorous than scary, and the only thing that captured my attention is when that head is taken off by the pole. I was just
That
like,
was so crazy.
oh, finally a jump scare. And that's the last jump scare I've had in like years. Like, I laugh at horror films. And I know this was a very dark subject matter, and it was a very twisted story, and it dealt with a lot of really intense things, but I was laughing throughout. I'm like, this is fucking funny to me. I don't know. And then that scene came, and I'm like, now that was an unexpected scene that nobody was like, wait, whoa. And then, and then I started laughing again. And Logan, I don't know, I may or may not, right? You can remember. I'm pretty sure I laughed when the head came off. It was a jump scare, and then I laughed. I was like, holy shit, that was great. And everybody's looking at me like, dude, like, it was literally decapitated and you're laughing. I'm like, well, I mean, I don't know.
So funny. So funny. Well, my number one pick is kind of like terrifying to me. I think it's still the scariest movie I've watched, especially with how I reacted to it and how I reacted after the fact. But it's the Blair Witch Project. It's the first of that point of view filmmaking style, to where people didn't know if it was actually real or not. If you guys haven't seen this film, it's honestly crazy. 3 people going into the woods to camp and then ghost hunt, if you will, and then they apparently stumble upon like witchcraft and people doing it in the woods, and there being a potential witch in the woods, and you don't even see the witch. Never, spoiler alert, you never see her, but the anticipation is there the entire time, and that's why it made it absolutely terrifying. So yeah, I would definitely recommend not to watch that by yourself. I watched it with my now wife, then girlfriend, and man, oh man, we were scared. Like, we watched it at night, like with the lights off and everything, and that's the way you should watch a horror movie. So yeah, it was great. Number 1 for me, Blair Witch Project.
And launched the that genre
Paranormal Activity,
the paranormal,
like
the caught on tape type movies. It was just like, and a lot of people are like wishing it hadn't launched all those movies. It's like, enough is enough. My number 1, and I won't even go too much into this one because anybody who knows me and has been listening to the show for a while knows that this one was really tough, and I still won't watch it alone. Can't watch it alone. The Champ, with Jon Voight and Ricky Schroeder, who I'm sure many people have many opinions about both of them nowadays. But let's forget all that and go back to when they were just great actors. And The Champ came out literally just a couple of months after my dad had passed away. And obviously, if you know the premise of the story, it's about a young Ricky Schroeder whose dad is a boxer who's trying to make a comeback and basically wins the fight but takes an ass whooping and dies on the table afterwards. And Ricky Schroeder, has a hard time accepting the death, and it's just a really traumatic, moving scene at the end when he's like laying literally on top of his dad, profusely crying, saying, come back to me. Come on, champ, wake up, and he's got to be dragged out. And it was basically one of those wake up, champ moments. Is like, that's all that was like after just losing my dad. I was like, fuck, and I still can't watch this movie without just bursting into tears and bringing back that moment. So, my number 1, The Champ. I don't watch it alone. And
he's getting choked up now. Guys.
It makes me cry.
Back to Everything's Okay.
It makes me cry. I just, that movie, that moment, the wake up, champ. Come on, champ. As if it was his fault that he's dead. I can't. Let's move on. Fun stuff.
Yes, exactly. But we want to know, what is your favorite film to not watch by yourself? What is one that you did not watch by yourself, that you're glad you watched with somebody else? Please let us know down in the comment section down below. Add us on X, Threads, Twitter, any of the good places. We love the fan interaction. Please.